Well, good morning. We are recording the first Recharge group online through Zoom, and we have some amazing, experienced individuals joining us. I get to, Heidi and I and Miss Lori Alexander and I talked over the weekend, and I get to lead the Recharge groups and help support them throughout the country because there is such a powerful need for our Rapport graduates, as well as it's just a powerful opportunity for everyone to connect, for them to remember what they experienced, as well as to get purposeful about what's important to them. For those of you that don't know me, I'm April Ballestero. I'm also an owner of a coaching company, as well as a business strategic partner with Rapport Leadership now, and just got all kinds of fun stuff thanks to Corinne, who got me reintroduced to everybody. So thank you for the introduction. And I am a master grad. I took LB1, LB2, Power of Communication, and am also supporting some other aspects as we grow into this partnership. So, Miss Corinne, I'm going to let you go first. The ladies are always the beautiful ones as I get to, trump the stage for the minute. And then, Jim, I'm going to be excited to hear from you. So, Corinne, share, who are you? How did I twist your arm to be with us this morning? And what would you like to share?
You didn't have to twist that hard, though, April.
Thank you, Corinne.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of history really quick, just to kind of start us out, because my journey with Rapport has been over the last 20 years. I started working with Rapport as a leadership training advisor back in, I think it was like April of 2000, April 2000. So I've been around with them for a long time, and I about 3 years into the journey, moved over to become a leadership coach with them and worked with them for about 10 years. Then I opened up my own leadership training and coaching. And that was the name of my company is Edge of Change. I've been doing that for about the last 10 years. But I still work as an independent contractor periodically on and off. Rapport will bring me in to coach some of their executives or teams that they're working with. My journey started out, though, is that I was actually I wanted to become a pilot. And I was learning how to fly, and these two crazy people from Rapport walked in the door of where I was learning how to fly. And that was a gentleman by the name of Mark Jones. Everybody knows him by Jonesy. And the gentleman that was the old CEO back a long time ago. And they just, I hate to say it, but it felt at the time like tormented me to go to Rapport. And it took 6 months of them just begging me, telling me how wonderful this training was. And I finally just went. And when I went, something happened. I don't know what it was, but leadership one rocked my world. And I said, you know what? This is what I want to do for a living. And that's when I work for Rapport. So that's how I started out my journey with them. I really can say that I feel that Rapport is the reason that I do the work that I do. Absolutely. I'm a master grad. I've been through all their trainings. And that's pretty much a little bit about me.
Corinne, real quick, in regards to recharge groups and what your familiarity with that is, think on that for a minute while I let Jim introduce himself, and then I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim Carver. I got involved with Rapport through my wife. She took she was working for a small credit union, and her boss sent her to Leader One in December of '99. And I think it was December of '99. And she loved it so much that she bought a class for me without talking to me. And I went to LB1 in May of 2000. And I fought her every inch of the way. I didn't want to go. I at the time was working for Hewlett Packard. I'd been to lots of other leadership classes and thought I didn't need it. And I loved it. I came out of that class just full of energy, and I just loved it. It was the first class I'd taken, leadership type class I'd taken, that was not just sitting in chairs reading books. And the fact that they got you involved and active in it, and I don't know, I loved everything about it. And I took my second class about 6 months later, and by 9 months later, I was a master grad. And then my wife, or both my wife and I are master grads. We also then went on to EQ and Life Mastery. And we've been back many, many, many times going on team. Exposure with Recharge, I've only really had 2 exposures, and both were short time. My first exposure was with the Reno Rechargers. In fact, that's where we attended our master grad ceremony. And then there was a group that started up in Medford, here in Oregon. But I don't think they lasted very long. We went to one meeting, and it was one of the earlier, not a kind of a kickoff meeting. We took some things for their auction, and then about 6 months later, we didn't hear any more about it. So I think it kind of died.
Well, Jim, that's such a, go ahead. Yeah, one other thought.
The problem for us was that it was about 4 hours away. And so it was kind of hard for us to go to every month.
Well, and Jim, that's one of the things I want to support with. As you see online, this is a great resource to be available from everybody's home. And we can do some online groups. We can do some in-person groups. One of our new LTAs, Erin, is in Chicago, and she's actually led a recharge group in her community. And so she's going to be part of our community as well. We've got quite a few graduates that have already expressed interest on Facebook. So as we build this, and this will be a monthly meeting online for sure. And yet we want to help build some of the virtual ones too as we get some more exposure and support, so we can make sure everybody feels connected and get to share a little bit and just be voices for their opportunity to share what they've lived out. And so, Corinne, what would you add to that?
Jim, I think we were at the Reno Master Grad ceremony together then.
That's very possible.
We had to be, because that's when I got my Master Grad certificate then, was the big, fabulous ceremony that they did in Reno. I remember that very well.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
It was.
You know, that right there, I got to say, actually takes me back on why the recharge meetings are so important, because the Master Grad ceremonies don't happen where we all can come together like that, that often. And it is difficult. I agree with Jim, you know, to be able to go to a certain location on a regular basis. So now the video, which we didn't have back then, we are able to stay connected. I don't care where we are, we're able to jump on a call like this and at least see each other's faces, because that's important. You know, I've lived outside of Las Vegas. This is where I originally went to work with Rapport when I was in Vegas, and when I left, I now live in Oregon. You know, I felt that separation, and I think that's probably, even though with owning and running my own company, you know, I'm still drawn back. Here I am on this call again. April said, be on the call. I'm like, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. I still need and love that connection, and that connection with other people that have gone through the experience of the training. You know, and we are human. It's easy to fall back, honestly, and I coach on this stuff. You know, it's easy to fall back sometimes. Having that reminder, having those people you can connect with, it's important.
It's also important. You know, I love technology and being able to connect this way when everybody's scattered, but I also think it's important at least once a year to get together, because, man, I miss the hugs.
Yeah. It's hard to get a virtual hug, Jim. I agree.
Yeah.
And Jim, I love that. I love, you know, that's one of the things I suggested to the leadership is, you know, what we'd love to do is create some type of incentive. And I was teasing Chef Ron. I said, you know, one of the things that most people remember is his cooking, right? And his experience. And so I got to spend some time with him this weekend as well. And so I think that might be, you know, I don't know how many people would be willing to go out to the retreat or to go out to something. That's one of the things as recharge leaders, we can start developing and deciding what is our annual event that we create a master grad ceremonies or a recharge ceremony, whatever that is. This is what we get to create. And so the blessing is we've got the full support of ownership and leadership, and I've been in communication with all of them and made sure that they understand the value of these groups and how we can support them. And I've been given permission to be a resource for that. So they know when I own something, I own it, as Corinne knows. And thank you for the recommendation, Corinne. I made sure that Brett and Mark all knew, as well as the LTAs and trainers, that you were the driving force to say, you know what, they could probably use your energy. And I've heard that from the admin as well. So I'm really excited to be a resource for everyone. The first aspect of this is just getting the recording out there so people know that this is a real opportunity and that we're going to be doing this on a monthly basis. And then, the last thing I'd love for you guys to share, ladies and gentlemen, what would be the ideal format for you in that quick hour? What would be the ideal format?
Of the monthly meetings? Well, I think just getting enough people that we have some synergy, that are committed to, having those meetings is probably foremost important. But a couple things that I'd like to do or have us think about is I think having a master grad ceremony again, an annual one maybe, is really important, and it's a great source for getting new recruits. And so I would say that's one of the things that I would really like to work on is, or have the group work on is develop an annual, at least an annual, maybe semi-annual, if that makes sense. Master grad ceremony, location, and the logistics for that. And then I think the second thing that I'd like to see happen is working towards building a scholarship fund for teens, to be able to send teens to LB1 and or Teen EQ. My experience in that is that I've personally sent probably half a dozen teens, and every one of those teens I felt at the time were at risk in some way, either lack of confidence or not doing well in school, or for lots of different reasons. And I think every one of those have grown into some really fine, outstanding young adults that I'm super proud of.
And Miss Megan complimented you on that when I was talking with her on the plane ride back. That she said she remembered they were talking about one of the particular graduates and how they remembered how much impact it had. And so obviously you had quite a few that had impact throughout the company. So thank you for doing that. And I had shared with everybody that was one of the feedback you and I had talked on the phone. So thank you for that. Miss Corinne.
I'm really coming from a coach experience here when I say this, because you asked as far as how I feel that the format of this call would be important. A lot of people cannot afford the coaching. I'm going to put it blunt out there. They can't. And I would love to see these where it's a forum, almost like a mastermind group, where people can come in, even if there's only two of us, just me and Jim on the call, where we can talk about what are some of the successes, what we're having, how are we committing, or what are our commitments for the month, if there's challenges that have come up, talking amongst each other, getting the experience of each other. I just would love to see it, something around there. I call it a mastermind support group, whatever. But that to me is the recharge part. And it does give an element of the coaching. you're a coach, so you can absolutely lead that and help people. And they're going to leave recharged. They're going to want to bring other people into the group because they're going to be talking to the other people that are graduates. And I think that just making it really valuable for them to be here is going to be really important.
And Corinne, you and I are so aligned on that, and as well as Jim, is I've been to and aware of teens going through scholarships. I was part of a board of a teen group that was blessed by one of those scholarships to send a couple of our teens, and it's been huge to see that impact. Yet I am a big supporter of masterminds and the big supporter of that community and that alignment. And so to be able to integrate all of that is going to be really, really powerful. And to start that fuel of that fire is going to be wonderful. And we've got another one joining us right now. So I will admit Miss Sarah. Hello, Miss Sarah. Can you see us and hear us okay? She may or may not be able to. So I will invite her to start video and camera. So with that, there she is. Hi, Sarah. And you can see us and hear us. So Ms. Corinne and Jim have done their introductions on the recording. We are being recorded, so I just wanted to give you a heads up that that way we can share it with future Recharge leaders. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found us and how you'd like to be involved.
So I manage the Rapport send-offs and everything for our company. I've been to LB1, LB2, Eagle Quest. I've been on team. I just love Rapport, and it's really changed my life. And so I wanted to see how I could give back to the community, and then also bring this into our company as well, so that we can have recharges within.
Well, perfect. That's awesome. And you said you're the part of the send-off team for your company. Which company do you represent?
So I work for Service Champions Heating and Air Conditioning in Northern
Oh,
California.
yes.
Yes.
Of course, I was on your owners were on team for my LB too.
Oh, how
And
nice.
I was on team with quite a few of your teams. So you can send a big old hello for me, please.
Okay, we will.
And hugs. That's wonderful. So I'm excited to have you with us. And we were just sharing a couple things came up from Jim and Corinne. Jim is also a master grad. Corinne's a master grad. Corinne's a on-contract coach for Rapport as well, and I am getting to help facilitate all the recharge groups as well as be a resource as a strategic partner with Rapport. So we've got a lot going on. We're excited about what's coming. And the last question I have, I promised everybody we'd keep this one within a 30 minutes, so I apologize for the late notice on that. Yet we're going to aim to be out of the call by 9 o'clock, 8:30 to 9 o'clock every month. We will be doing this meeting, and it will keep growing. Eventually, we'll have to move it to some types of different groups, different areas, and I'll help facilitate all of those as we move into that. But I want everybody to really get value from these opportunities in a quick, short amount of time, and yet come power packed with it. So we'd love to be a resource to your team as well, and to help facilitate some of those recharge groups as well. I think it'd be awesome, and knowing some of them, that'll be even more fun. And that's what we want, Jim, is like you said. So 3 things that came up, Sarah, and then I'd love your input. Corinne mentioned she'd love, and Corinne, in a quick sentence, would you share with Sarah what you had shared with all of us, what you would like to see for the structure and the impact?
Well, April had asked us as far as what kind of format would we like for this call. And the big thing that I said is I would like to bring value to everybody that's on the call. I don't care if there's just 2 of us on the call or 20 of us on the call, to have the ability to really share what are some of the success we have for the month, commitments we may have for the month, challenges that we may have that we can ask each other for resources, just some way that we really can use the time to be valuable for us.
Excellent. And Jim, your sentence?
I second that. That would be very valuable for me also. But as goals for the recharge, a couple of things that I would like to see us work on is organizing and facilitating a master grad ceremony each year, so that as people reach that level, we can have a special ceremony for them and present their certificates and conduct the final process. And then the second thing that I'd like to work on, I see the group work on, is developing a scholarship fund and the logistics to be able to send teens to LB1 and or Team Eagle Quest.
Mhm.
And Miss Sarah, what would you like to add?
I think all of those are great. For me, it's really, I really want to just see what I can do to bring back the excitement of rapport to our culture, right? Our culture is so important to our company, and sending rapport is such a gift to others. I want to continue the gift and continue their process so that they know that they're 100% supported. The other focus that I could really see is changing the teenage age group a little bit to the middle school generation, because I think that's where it starts, really the development of who you are and who you want to become. So I'd kind of like to focus more on the teens, but really getting into the preteens and helping develop them to become, you know, a better version of themselves. So yeah.
What a great awareness in the community that we live in today. There is so much happening so much faster and so much earlier. What a great awareness. And
I couldn't agree more.
right. Well, and I am blessed that this weekend, literally on Friday, I dropped my 24-year-old and my twin brother off to go get LB1 graduation. So I'm ecstatic as well. And I understand being able to domino that into multitude of community. So with that, so let's end on this and narrow in. Miss Sarah, since you joined us so wonderfully, let's start with you.
Okay.
So what would be in your control, one commitment, or as no more than 3, a commitment you can make before we meet next month? What would be in your control to help support building these recharge groups?
I could bring at least 2 ideas of topics for these discussions.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's what I can commit to.
Excellent. And may I add one other suggestion?
Sure.
Because, you know, the coach in me just can't help it.
Yes.
So, would you consider bringing one other member to our community?
Sure.
And whether it's from your company, whether it's another grad, whatever you choose.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, great. And Jim, how about you? And then I'll come to Ms. Corinne.
Well, I've got lots of ideas, and I'm willing to share those, and I'm willing to work on, you know, for instance, the scholarship and the master grad. The biggest problem I have is that I feel isolated. You know, there's not a lot of, I don't know of any other master grads in the area. So,
and I want to help with that, Jim. I'm going to be getting more involved in getting clarity about who is where and all that stuff like that. I got to meet a lot of the LTAs and et cetera, so I'll get some clarity. For those of you that don't know a little bit of my background, I'm also a coach and had a huge amount of background and training in building and developing teams. And so one of my rosters carried 85 people on that roster, and I managed to develop the leaders on that roster and then develop those people. And so I bring that skill into building these recharge groups, because finding the leaders, finding the people, finding the synergy, and how to help support that is a skill and a gift that I've got, and I'm excited to be a resource for. So, Jim.
One of the thoughts that I had was, it would be really nice, and I'm not sure how Rapport would do it, but it would be really nice if we had maybe a grad list or a mailing list, some kind of a list, maybe just a localized list, you know, for each of us, where we could reach out to those people and, you know, recruit them to join us. But at this point, I don't even know where to start. You know, I don't know who to ask.
And I do. So I'll start doing some research for you. So my request from you, Jim, and then Corinne, I'll go to you, is that see, for you personally, from what you know of what was set up as logistics for that, the scholarship building, I would love your support in some type of documentation or some type of way that you started that application and process, if you know of any of that, or if you have any resource for that. I'll see what I can find as well, but I'd love your support in that. And then if you want to have your wife join us next time, that'd be great. You're extra one.
Okay.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you, Jim. And Ms. Corinne.
I have 2 commitments. One is all of the clients that I've coached with that are Rapport graduates, I'll get a notice out to them that there's a recharge group that they don't do it. And the other is the social media part of it. I'll put some notices out there on the Facebook on the LinkedIn, which I'm not so sure we've got too much going on the LinkedIn stuff with that. But just do some social media touches and see if we can bring some people in that way too.
That is perfect, Corinne, and I appreciate that. That'll be a big help. And same for Sarah. You know, all of you are powerful leaders because you've not only been experienced of this process, yet you also have chosen to say, hey, let me step up and be a resource for it as well. So thank you for that. As I promised, we are exactly at 9 a.m. and I'm going to end our recording after I say thank you again to joining us. I will get this out to all the right people so that we can get some power in our momentum. And by next month, we will ideally double our numbers. We will also have the beginning of a structure. So we've got a commitment. I will openly, and by your permission, hold you all accountable to your commitments. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate all of you. Have an amazing day.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.